Thanks for giving me no countdown whatsoever before we went live there, Zane. That was fantastic.
Did you see the panic in my eyes as I try to find the right button?
Yes, I saw the panic in your eyes. You see the panic in my eyes as I'm midway through a sentence that was about to get us banned on YouTube.
Wow. Welcome one and all to another episode of Undisputed Nerds. I am your host, the formerly Senpai Zane, now just Zane. As always, I'm joined by my fantastic co-host, the Gentlemanly Gamer, aka
Hello,
Gigi.
everybody out there in Radio Land. How are we all? Zane, how are you? Still sore over the loss of the Senpai, I see.
Just a little bit. I'm a work in progress, shall we say?
They've destroyed him, guys. They've broken him down, and now we need to build him back up. It's
I need a new identity. That's my problem. I'm kind of like Paul McGann in that Doctor Who TV special where he just walks out in the rain and he's like, "Who am I?"
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Because of course, when we started, it's an interesting fact as well, guys, that when we started talking this evening, Zane was actually Sylvester McCoy. So it is incredible what can happen. Very prescient reference there, considering what some of the stuff we're going to talk about today. Nicely done. I like it. I like it. It all threads in together. Yeah, we still need to. We're still. I haven't spoken to Zane about this, so I'm going to drop it on him on air. But we're still going to work on the idea of get a name for Zane. And we need to have some kind of prefix before his name, because I'm definitely gonna go out on a limb and say Know It All Zane that I was planning on putting in there. It's not gonna work for him. Yeah, nice. Guys,
I've had some suggestions already. Might do a segment somewhere down the line. We'll do a segment somewhere down the line. I was going to mention we're live on YouTube, by the way. So if you didn't know, check us out on YouTube. If you're listening to the recorded version,
we're live on YouTube now. But if you're listening to the podcasted version, then I'm afraid you're out of luck. we're only live on YouTube on a Friday evening, so come along, come and chat with us. But if you have downloaded our podcast and are listening to it now, we appreciate you for downloading and listening to the podcast.
Absolutely, 100%. Shall we crack on with some news?
You go. You listen. You're hot with it. You go for it. Straight in there, because our topic of conversation tonight is going to be one that you're going to lead, and I'm just going to get bitter about. So
So it's not exactly fresh off the news plate. I don't know where I was going with that. The news
fresh off the news plate, guys. These tips and bits are fresh off the news plate. That's it.
Serving them up.
Yeah.
But of course, we've all heard how Michael B. Jordan is set to do some work for HBO Max in developing a Superman. I think it's a series. I don't believe it's a movie. I think it's a TV series.
Yes.
But
it's not Kal-El either, is it? It's
no, Val Zod.
Yes, Val Zod. Thank you. Yeah. So can you call it Superman if it's? I mean, it seems pretty cynical. It's based around Is it based around the comic where it's where he becomes president? Is it that one?
It's the Earth 2 variation. So
that was it. Yes.
Yeah. So it's the one without Kal-El, Bruce Wayne, Batman, and Wonder Woman, Diana Prince, Wonder Woman, I should say.
Interesting.
You still there? Oh, we got a buff. I think we have lost the connection. Maybe there is some sort of interference that is happening right now. I don't know if it's happening on my end or Gigi's end. I am currently trying to fill the dead space. Maybe I should insert that segment I mentioned earlier. Oh,
hello. Hello.
Gigi, you're back.
I'm back. Are you back?
I'm still here. Yeah.
Was it both of us going down, or was it just you?
I'm not sure.
I was there for a while talking, and you weren't there, so I thought it was.
I was talking as well because I wasn't sure which one of us it was going to record.
Yeah, this is. Sorry, guys, if you're listening to this through audio means, we just had a massive cutout there that I have no idea what that was. I genuinely have no idea. It might have just been StreamYard's causing some problems, which is the service that we're using at the moment. But that was strange. That was weird. You were midway through telling me about Earth 2.
Yeah, it's bizarre considering earlier on in the year there was conversations about Michael B. Jordan replacing Henry Cavill as Superman. So it's quite bizarre that I think his original statement was that he wanted to do something original. He wouldn't want to do the Clark Kent story sort of thing and just be known as the Black Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Where now
or Clark Clint.
Where now he's going in the whole sort of Val Zod.
Yeah, I've got no issues with this. I like I mean, it has been proven, it seems, that when DC does standalone movies that are not supposed to be connected to the wider whole, they actually turn out to be quite good. I'm not a huge fan of Joker, but it was successful, and it was a good standalone kind of piece. Looks like Suicide Squad might be quite standalone as well. And the reception to that, as of speaking on the end of July, it looks like it's really, really good. And I've read some reviews that say it's the best DC movie ever. So, I'm interested if they do something unique with Michael B. Jordan. And he's a fantastically gifted actor. He's amazing.
Yeah,
he's full on with Nail and I on the scale, and. That's our Richard E. Grant scale, for those of you who not know. I'm excited to see what they do with it. And I hope they, just see a different DC world as well. Maybe make it a bit. I'm not familiar too well with the Earth 2 comics, but maybe just make it a bit more colorful and comic-y instead of, what DC tends to have, which is a palette color of gray.
It'd be interesting. I have to admit, I'm kind of sick of these sort of like, I hate to use the phrase, but not so much hate, but the tokenization. So it is the, black version of Superman. Oh, are you? Or is it me?
Yeah. It was going just then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, what's happening, guys? What's happening? Yeah, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know if it's on your side or my side, but let's just get rid of all the things on my computer that might be doing anything that could cause problems, guys. So that's my bad. Let's say it's my bad, and hopefully it'll work out.
And that fixes it. Anyways, in other news, we got a Ghostbuster trailer.
We did.
Initial reactions. Fair enough.
I mixed. I think from me, I'm not. I have been. Let me get this clear. I wasn't excited for the last Ghostbusters reboot that they did in 2016. I was not excited at all for it. So, and when it came to the film, the only good thing about that film was, as far as I'm aware, was Chris Hemsworth. I personally thought, anyway. So this one, I will say this: it looks much better than the 2016 version.
Yeah.
They're doing something different with the franchise, which is really good.
Yeah.
I'm a bit kind of like, I'm a bit meh about it being like kid Ghostbusters.
Sure.
Even though I'm not sure, I think Finn Wolfhard might be like almost 20 now, which is just weird to me. Like, it's just so weird after seeing him in the first series of Stranger Things, and now he's like this. It's just very odd. I love Paul Rudd. I absolutely love Paul Rudd. I love, what's her name? Connie. She's Proxima Midnight in Infinity War. What's her name?
Right, yeah.
Connie Coon, is it? Connie. I can't remember what her name is. Anyway, she's really good. Yeah, and yeah, so it seems like they're going with what, like Egon's granddaughter, which is weird because then it looks like he married what's her face from the film, like the one who was with Rick Moranis.
Yeah, the secretary.
Janine Melnitz, that's it, Janine. Yeah. It's like that's a bit of an interesting. I didn't see that one playing out quite like that. But yeah, I mean, there were bits of the trailer that I really liked and I really thought looked really good. Again, I like that it's not in New York. It's kind of like in the urban outskirts. Yeah. So you see like more. Hopefully, it's Carrie Coon. Carrie Coon is her name. Carrie Coon.
God.
So hopefully you see more kind of like variations of like, you know, different ideas behind it. It's not just going to be about Zool and like, you know, the end of the world and in New York and everything focused on New York. So I'd like it if they open like a doomsday gate or something like that. Like the house is on top of like a doomsday gate or something that is opening early.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, I wish I was a plot writer. And then I didn't like the ghost. I didn't like Ecto 1, like being driven by the kids and like that weird like coming out the side of it thing. It's like action thrown in there for action's sake. It feels like I didn't like Paul Rudd fighting with the mini Stay Puffs. I thought it was really like cheesy and like really like, oh, don't just shoehorn Stay Puff in there. Like you don't need to do that. Like I get he's like one of the iconic characters from the series, but don't just like. That's just cheap, you know. You shouldn't have to. You should, you know, like.
No, yeah, I see what you mean.
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with this 100%. But James Cameron once said about Terminator 2, he said that he believes that a good sequel should be one that you shouldn't have had to have seen the original to understand what's going on and to be. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all of that, but in this case, it has been almost 30 years, I think.
Yeah.
No, wait. It has been 30 years. In 1984 was the first one, was it?
I think so, yeah.
Or 85? Yeah, it's been like 30 years since the first Ghostbusters. Like, move on. Just do something. You know, I appreciate you're doing something new with this. Like, you don't. But I feel like the Stay Puft thing felt like a studio shoehorning, where they were just like, oh, we've got to have Stay Puft in it because he's like, yeah, he's a cute marshmallow guy.
Otherwise, people won't realize this is Ghostbusters.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
yeah, you're right. 84 it was when it came out. It's look, I can see they're going for the whole Stranger Things angle, and you know, if it pays off, it pays off big. Like,
oh yeah, I don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be good. But I know some people who have been saying they're so excited for it and it's going to be the next best thing since their childhood kind of thing. And I'm just like, just temper that excitement just a little bit. Yeah. You know, I'd really...
There's only so much Paul Rudd can do as well.
Exactly. Maybe he'll turn out to be a ghost because he just never ages.
Maybe.
Or maybe in real life. I'm not talking about the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course we haven't seen the original cast as well who are in this. Like it is confirmed that Sigourney Weaver and Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and we get a little tease of Dan Aykroyd at the end, don't we?
Yeah.
In the Togen bookshop or whatever it's called, the Spirit Togen Guide or whatever it is. And Bill Murray and Winston's in this as well, isn't he? Ernie Hudson, that's it. Yeah, they're all in it as well. So,
we'll see. Huh? That'd be cool to see the old gang back together.
Yeah, it will. I played the Ghostbusters game on stream a couple of weeks ago, and that is the closest thing to a genuine sequel to Ghostbusters 2, apart from this, obviously. And the story is basically the story is literally exactly the same as like 1 and 2, pretty much, except it's all about the architect of like Zool. So like the guy who built, you know, all the buildings and stuff in that weirdly seem to be like, you know, conduits for all this ghost activity. Well, it focuses on him and says that like, no, he was a Zool worshipper who like wanted to be a god himself. And so that's what the game's all about, is like chasing down the architect who made all this stuff. So it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. So I wonder if they'll incorporate any of the game into Afterlife, whether we'll see any of that stuff come into it. You know, possibly. I don't know whether they will or not, but yeah, it's interesting. I'm interested in it for sure. I will definitely be going to see it. Let's see what happens. I guess
Absolutely.
A good trailer to pique an interest, but I'm not like off the ends of the earth excited for it.
Got you.
You?
Enough. Yeah, similar really. I reckon Paul Rudd's one of the funniest man in the universe right now. So I'll happily watch anything that he's in. And like you say, it's got the yeah, exactly. And it's got the Ecto one. So that's enough for me to sign me up. I don't need to see Marshmallow Man or Slime. Like you say, you could put those toys to bed now. Like Slimer.
Yeah. God, look at you. Honestly, what a youth. What a youth, guys. Honestly, he doesn't understand. He doesn't even know Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Doesn't even know Slimer.
No, because I watched
who am I podcasting with, guys?
I watched the cartoon that had the real Ghostbusters.
You mean where Slimer is in it?
Yeah, but do they call him Slimer?
Yes, they do. Constantly. I watched an episode of it the other day where Venkman gets slimed by him and does Slimer. Anyway, yes.
Anyway.
Moving on.
So Hawkeye, the new TV series, will be premiere on November 24th. We have a release date.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at this because they're pretty much doing a new Marvel release every month now.
Yeah.
So guys, if you are waiting for the Marvel bubble to burst, it's coming because we're getting everything every month now. Everything every month. We might as well hook into the other bit of Marvel news whilst we're at it, talking in the same list and move it around a bit because it segues in beautifully. So yeah,
just before we do that, I just want to ask you quickly. Do you think the rumor's true about Vincent D'Onofrio? Vincent D'Onofrio is Kingpin? I really hope it is. I sent this to you during the week, didn't I? You did, yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you who aren't aware, the hot rumor at the moment is that so Daredevil, the rights for the so I don't know whether you knew this or not, Zane, but the rights to have Daredevil on screen were actually signed over to Netflix. So that's why the TV show obviously was made on Netflix, and the rights to make another show kind of thing where it was ongoing, similar to like obviously Marvel still owned the character and all this other kind of stuff, but they licensed out the rights to use him on screen to Netflix for the shows. And it was an exclusive deal with Netflix. That deal expired very recently, which means all of the Daredevil property and everything has all gone back now to Marvel Studios. So officially, Marvel Studios can now use them on the big screen again.
Nice.
So that has then prompted this rumor to come up, and apparently it is also, I think there was like D'Onofrio was spotted at on one of the film sets because they are doing it. They have like done it, but they're doing reshoots, I think, for Hawkeye. And the rumor is that Vincent D'Onofrio, who played the Kingpin in the Netflix Daredevil series, is going to be coming back and resuming his role as Kingpin in Hawkeye. I mean, I've said this for a while. I really, it's great casting, like that Daredevil series. They seriously need to get both him and Charlie Cox back because they're both phenomenally good as their characters. I really think it's probably going to happen, especially now that we've got this whole multiverse situation where, it's all going crazy and there's variants of people here, there, and everywhere. And it's going to be very simple to kind of slot them in, I would guess. I'm really excited for this. If the Hawkeye, we haven't really talked about the Hawkeye series much on the podcast, but I'm a big fan of there's a Hawkeye run by Matt Fraction in the books, which focuses around Kate Bishop as well, which is his daughter. If the rumors are they're basing the show off of that run, and it's one of Hawkeye's probably, I would argue it's probably the best Hawkeye book.
I would agree with you. So
if they're doing that for the series, that's fantastic. That's really, really awesome. I really hope they are doing that. But we'll just have to wait and see what comes. But I'm looking forward to the Hawkeye show. It's interesting. I'm kind of less, since Loki and WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm less excited for like on the ground TV series. Like, you know, we talked about this where it seems like Marvel is setting up like a city Avengers and a cosmic Avengers.
Yeah,
I'm kind of less excited about the city ground and pound stuff. You know, I'm like, it is what it is.
We're kind of like polar opposites, aren't we? Because I'm really excited for that sort of stuff. Like, I'm really excited for the idea of Hawkeye and just fighting some goons in an alleyway and all that. Yeah, I'm jazzed.
Yeah, and I'm exactly the opposite. I'm like, well, I've seen 13 alley fights in Daredevil now, so I don't need to see any more, really. But
corridor shot.
a single shot corridor. Well, I'll tell you what. Once you've seen one, you've seen 13, 14, seasons. 15, 5 seasons of them. Yeah, exactly. I'm still look again. You know, it's me, so I'm still going to watch it, obviously. But I don't know. It's just if it is based on the Matt Fraction run, once it's confirmed that it is, then I'll be super excited. I think it is, and I am looking forward to it. Especially now Yelena Belova is going to be in it. Spoilers for the end of Black Widow. But yeah, now that I think Florence Pugh was confirmed for ages ago, but we didn't really know in what context. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it's like.
Do you think they'll CGI Pizza Dog as well?
They are. The dog's in it. Yeah, the dog's in it. It was confirmed. It was in one of the set photos. Yeah, the dog's definitely in it. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And he's wearing hearing aids as well, because like I think he's Hawkeye's deaf, isn't he? Or like can't hear properly in the books at a certain point. So he's like they're doing all. It seems like they're doing all the little intricate details of it. So it's very
nice.
Looks cool. Really good. Looks really, really good.
Other Marvel news, as you mentioned earlier, pretty hot news as well.
Hot came out today.
Yeah, in the last sort of 24 hours. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney for streaming.
Are you doing that one, are you? You're doing that one, are you? I was gonna mix it up and do the Shang-Chi thing because we were talking about it being released every month.
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say suing Disney for streaming Black Widow on Disney Plus instead of having the exclusivity of it being released in theaters.
Yeah, this is a weird one. This is really weird. I'm kind of weirdly like not annoyed by this, but like just like I don't care because like Scarlett Johansson is one of the most famous women on the planet who is a multi-millionaire, and she is suing $1 billion corporation. I don't care. Like, go ahead, do it. Fine. One thing's for sure: she's never coming back as Black Widow now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's it.
That's a done deal, isn't it?
If anyone was wondering if Black Widow is going to come back from the dead or anything like that, unless it's a variant, she ain't coming back. She is gone, baby. She is gone. Which is sad, actually, when you think about it. That is really sad because she's one of the original 6. So, like,
I know, yeah.
To have one of the original Avengers, we'll never see her as Black Widow ever again. Which I know. Look, I know that Robert Downey Jr. is dead in the films, but like they can bring him back, and they probably will bring him back. We talked about this last week. We'll probably bring him back as a hologram at some point.
Yeah,
Chris Evans, they de-aged Cap, but in the books they've de-aged. Oh, sorry, they've aged Cap, but in the books they've de-aged him as well. He can always come back. But like, if you sue the company that is responsible for Marvel, you're never coming back. There's no way. So, it's not going to hurt her. Like, it's not going to damage her career or anything like that. It just seems like a bit of a weird hill to die on because presumably she still got paid for the cinema release of it. And Black Widow, I think, did quite well at the cinema from what I can remember. So it is quite a weird hill to die on.
Yeah, so just to give you a rough idea, on the movie's box office performance, it may have cost her upwards of 50 million from it not being released. For it being released on streaming instead of having the exclusivity of going straight to theaters. So essentially, she's missed out on 50 mil.
Oh no, my heart's bleeding for her. 50 million. What's she going to do with 50 million? Like what? Like that kind of money is life-changing money to somebody like you and I, right?
Yeah.
She probably has made over 50 million, like going to the toilet. I was going to swear then.
Wow.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, don't. Oh, you lost 50 million. Oh well, I'm sure you'll make 30 million in your next movie. So and then you can build your pool or whatever it is that you wanted to make on your mansion. I find it hard to sympathize with her on this. I really do, and I'm not sympathizing with Marvel either because Disney are.
Well, there's new reports coming out about this as well. Like Kevin Feige reportedly angry at Disney over Feige, reportedly angry at Disney over the release. So apparently he allegedly angry and embarrassed on behalf of his talent and lobbied against the day and date plan. So he was against the idea of it being released on Disney Plus as well as cinemas.
Oh, right. Was it released on Disney Plus as well as cinemas, Zane?
Yes, it was.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, cool. It's not like we've had that discussion. No. I mean, you really. I don't look. I'm always conscious of giving. I'm not on the side of Disney here. I'm not on the side of either of them. I'm totally Switzerland in this situation, but you don't want to put too much power in the hands of Feige to the point where if you annoy him and he walks away, your entire universe is screwed, kind of thing. You know,
the whole franchise is gone with him. Like
he is the lightning rod that this thing has generated around. So you don't really want to lose him. I hated the streaming idea behind Black Widow. I thought it was really bad. Cinemas. So this is to anyone listening around the world. Cinemas are an amazing creation of humanity, and of the last 150 years. They are kind of I don't know, like temples of solace where certain people can go to and just escape from reality. For me, they're a very personal, sacred thing, and I love going to the cinema. It is one of my favorite things to do. I love having that atmosphere of being in a room full of strangers all experiencing the same thing at once. So this whole global problem has threatened it. It has threatened cinema. There's no two ways about it. They've had to close. There's been massive losses. My poor heart bleeds for the people in Hollywood who have had massive losses. But that being said, I don't want to lose cinema as an experience. And I think that streaming is one of the singular biggest threats to losing cinema as an experience. Because the way that we consume things will suddenly become so much more rapid. The ability to be like, oh, well, I could go to the cinema, but I can just buy it on Disney Plus and watch it in my pants. That is I joke, but it's a real threat. I know at least 4 out of the 5 people, including you, who in the past would have gone to the cinema to see it, but because it was easily I'm not saying that because it was easily accessible for you, because let's not go into that whole discussion again, but because it was easily accessible, they got it on Disney Plus and watched it on Disney Plus. And I was annoyed because it's like you are taking business away from the cinemas. For me, certain things like Marvel, like DC, they are a visual medium, a visual spectacle that should be experienced on the big screen. There's nothing like it at the cinema. I don't care what people say. I don't care if you've got your own special cinema at home and all this other kind of stuff. There is nothing like a cinema experience. And apart from the theater maybe, but that's another conversation for a whole nother time. But like visually speaking, I cannot imagine watching Infinity War and Endgame the first time on the TV at home. That was such an incredible experience to watch at the cinema. It's exactly the same. And like Loki was really good on the TV because it was made for the TV. The Black Widow was great at the cinema because it was made for the cinema. And it's just, I apologize for going on a bit of a rant there, but if you're around the world and you have the option to do streaming or go to the cinema, get your bum out of your seat and go to the cinema and watch it at the cinema, because you won't be sorry that you did. It is a great experience, and it is better. It's just better to watch it through the cinema if you have that option.
Well said.
And then Scarlett Johansson can make her 50 million as well, and she won't sue Disney.
I'll tell you what else is coming to cinema: Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
It is. That's also hot off the press. That is hot off the press today with a new poster as well.
Yeah. We've got a release date of September the 3rd. I can't wait for this.
Oh man, it's gonna be great. I'm super hyped for it. It's weird. This is a city level one that I'm actually super hyped for. And you know why? Because it's a movie and I'm gonna go see it at the cinema. But isn't it crazy that we are now in a I am worried about Marvel being oversaturated. I really am. Because we had Falcon and Winter Soldier in May. We had a bit of a gap in June. Then we've had Loki. Now we've got What If. I think actually Loki came out in June, didn't it? It was out in June and it went into July.
Yeah. Don't forget we had WandaVision at the beginning of the year.
I'm just talking about constant releases. So now we've got Falcon and Winter Soldier, we've got Loki. Then this month August we've got What If. Then September we've now got Shang-Chi. October we've got what's it called? Eternals. Eternals is coming out in October.
Oh, yeah.
And then we've got Hawkeye in November and Spider-Man in December.
Wow.
So if you guys are sick of Marvel, well, get ready to eat some more sickening Marvel pie, because it's on its way, guys. A whole shebang. So yeah, Shang-Chi is one of the standouts for me this year. I don't know whether I'm more excited about the fact that it is Shang-Chi as a character, because I don't know much about him and I'm excited to learn about him, or if it's Mandarin. I am so excited to see what MCU does with Mandarin properly this time, really properly. And the 10 Rings of Power, man, I am so hyped to see it on screen. It is fantastic. There's a whole run of Invincible Iron Man from 2009, I think 2008, 2009. It's on my shelf there somewhere. So it's there. The Mandarin is the ultimate villain in the end of it. And he's so cool. And in that, the 10 rings are embedded in his spine. So he's got the power of it all the time, because they're just in his spine. And he's this weird Asian businessman kind of thing. And it looks like they might be taking pieces of that, apart from obviously the fact that the 10 rings are now bracelets, it seems, down his arm. Yeah. But it looks like they're taking inspiration for that, that pseudo businessman kind of appearance, and putting it in this movie. I cannot wait. I'm super hyped. And the fact that Abomination is apparently coming back as well, that's going to be great. So just awesome. So yeah, good news. Excited to see that. We should go, you and I. So I'm not going to go into details of where we live, guys, but me and Zane live in different townships, and so it's hard for us to go and see things together. By the way, Zane, I'm going to go and see Suicide Squad tomorrow. I'm going to break it to you now.
I didn't even know it was out in the UK.
Cinny, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us on the comments on the live chat. Hello. Did you seriously not know it was out in the UK?
I saw it premiered in Leicester Square, and Peter Capaldi went. But
are we going to get another? Is this going to be another you and I having a discussion on stream, on stream instead of off stream this time, about the fact that you didn't know it was out, or you did know it was out?
That's as far as my knowledge went. I know, again, some influencers I follow got to see an advanced screening of it, and they said, "Oh, it's amazing," in their cosplay. Yeah. But that's as much as I knew about it.
Anyway, regardless, yeah, we should go, and you and I should go and make the effort to go and see that together. That would be good. We can do a live review after it or something. That'll be funny. But yeah, super excited for Shang-Chi. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Sign me up.
Whoa, hang on. Slow down, Zane. Hang on. We're on, guys. For those of you listening on the podcast, we're on a live stream, so people are on YouTube and dropping in. Cinny, your friend works on the wardrobe of Shang-Chi or on Suicide Squad. Carry on, Zane, and hopefully he will respond to that in just a second. That's mad.
This is a bit of a weird one that I wasn't expecting to see, but apparently J.K. Simmons is in talks to return as Jim Gordon in the new Batgirl film for HBO Max.
That is surprising. Because does that mean he's not coming back as J. Jonah Jameson again?
Well, I mean, look, this man has been everywhere this last year.
This god, you mean, J.K. Simmons.
Especially Amazon Prime. Oh, we've got a response. I'll pop it up on the screen.
Can't say anything, but she works on everything. Okay, right. It's a Suicide Squad. Look at him. That's a plug for Cine Gamers, by the way, guys. If you're out there looking, go and follow him. Go and have a look for him on YouTube. Yeah, J.K. Simmons is amazing, man. I love J.K. Simmons. Yeah, he's Omni-Man, obviously, isn't he? In latest thing in Invincible. Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I mean, you and I have had this conversation before about Batgirl.
Yeah.
I think the nub of the conversation was me going, I don't care. But I mean, J.K. Simmons was excellent as Jim Gordon in a very, very, very bad, very bad. Sorry, Snyderverse people. But it wasn't good. I don't like the DC EU at the moment. But having him back is a good move, I guess. I guess it just depends what the rest of the thing's like.
Yeah, he was one of those castings I was really excited to see. Like, what would his Jim Gordon be like? Instead of I guess in some ways you've had like bumbling idiots. You've had the Gary Oldman screaming about putting his hand in the filth.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So yeah, I was really excited to see his version, but of course he did get a lot of screen time.
The only thing I ever think about the Gary Oldman Gordon is at the end of Batman Begins when he just goes, nothing in his pocket except knives and lint.
He does this weird, I can't explain it, but he does this weird sort of looking at things, like, you know, like at the end of Batman Begins where's the card, and he's like, and he leaves a calling card and then it hands over.
Calling card. Yeah, it's so weird.
He does these weird pauses as he's looking at things, like, I don't know. It's on the scale of he's
what is it where he said something about, doesn't he say our guys start wearing Kevlar. They start buying armor-piercing rounds. I'm like, what's going on with you, Gary? I feel like that whole scene was just filmed as like a throwing thing. But they were like, we're probably not going to do a sequel, but let's just film like a setup for it. So, Gary, just riff. Do whatever you want, Gary. Go crazy. Gary. Go crazy.
We'll capture the moment.
And earlier on, he saw like an early episode of Star Trek with Shatner doing a piece on like pausing in like long moments, like. You're wearing a mask. Yeah. Who's to say? But no, J.K. Simmons is. I mean, he's the reason why he's a different kind of Jim Gordon is that he's J.K. Simmons in every. No, sorry, I stand corrected. Sorry, he's J. Jonah Jameson in everything that he does. Because it's the best casting in the whole world is him as J. Jonah Jameson. So, like, yeah. I mean. Yeah, it's going to be good that he's coming back. I do worry that this is getting confusing because weren't we talking last week about the same actor who's playing Jim Gordon in The Batman being cast in Batgirl as well?
Yeah, we theorized it, knowing that Batgirl is going to be a person of color. So I speculated that maybe they might be trying to link off it, but I guess this would mean that it's based in the Snyderverse as well. If they get J.K. Simmons on board.
This also feels like I think the classic Warner Brothers tactic of I'm not going to swear, but I'll fill in the gap. Throwing as much Jaffa against the wall and seeing what sticks. That's pretty much what they're doing for this, I think. And this is just a classic example of like what was popular about Justice League. Jim Gordon. Let's get J.K. Simmons in.
Yeah.
So yeah, enough of this Batgirl speak. I shall hear no more of it. Now that Joss Whedon is gone, from the project. I shall hear no more of it.
I guess we should just roll on the last bit of news. Doctor Who.
Yes, it is all change, isn't it?
Very much changing with the departure of Jodie Whittaker, and is it Chris?
The showrunner, Chris Trimble. Yeah. So you and I are both. I think we are Doctor Who fans. I will be honest with you. I'm not as much of a fan of it as I was in the David Tennant, Matt Smith era. Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith era. I enjoy Peter Capaldi's run on it a lot. I think he does not get a lot of credit for being a very good Doctor, because he was an excellent Doctor. I have nothing against Jodie Whittaker. I think she's a fantastic actress. But I watched her first series and I enjoyed it. But the writing has definitely gone downhill for her since then. I have not really enjoyed her last couple of seasons. And it's nothing to do with her as an actress. I think she's fantastic as the Doctor. I think she's great. All the Doctor Who castings since the reboot have been fantastically good. Like, they've been really good, and really good actors as well. This one, unfortunately, I think the person to blame is Chris Trimble. I mean, the twist at the end of the last episode, where it turns out that, like, you know, the Doctor is like the progenitor of the entire Time Lord race. Horrible.
Just completely horrible. Destroys 50 years of lore as well.
It does. It did a lot of damage. I'm assuming they're going to undo it at some point, because they're doing like a. So I read today that she's doing 4. So she's doing another half series of 6 feature-length episodes, and then she's doing 4 specials, and then that's it. And then she regens in autumn 2022 is basically when the plan is to replace her. And at that point, Chimble will be going as well. I'm hoping they retcon it and don't go with that. I've said it from the beginning. I will say it again. For me, the most compelling the Doctor Who was and is when he or she or they is the last of their species, the last of their kind. They're the last of the Time Lords. Gallifrey's gone, which they kind of tried to do with this series. Like, they tried, the Master destroys Gallifrey again, but it was just so, you could tell that they'd written themselves into a corner and they didn't know what to do. He's really good as the Master as well. As I can't remember what the actor's name is. He was Steel Serpent in Iron Fist.
I was just going to say he was in Iron Fist, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's fantastically good as he's really good as the Master. Like, it's crazy, like, twitchy out there Master. He's amazingly good at it. But just it wasn't a good series. I'm glad it's all change. It needs to be. Hopefully they get it. For me, like, the actor is a very core component of who the Doctor is. But what's almost even more important is who the showrunner is, because Russell T Davies was an excellent showrunner on Doctor Who. He was really good, and I didn't necessarily enjoy the last David Tennant series as much as I have the previous ones, but he was still a very good showrunner. Stephen Moffat has a big problem on finishing. Like, he sets up all these really grand things, but then he has a really bad way of ending it. He was still a good showrunner. Like, he's still an excellent showrunner, and it just feels like this one was just something was lacking with it. I'm afraid it really was.
100% agree. The one thing I will say is I feel like Stephen Moffat was probably on it too long, because his writing became a little bit too predictable, and I just don't feel like it was the same passion as it did in previous years.
Well, I think the reason for that was because that he wanted Peter Capaldi. He wanted Peter Capaldi right back at the beginning, but then Matt Smith came in and just blew everyone away and was like, "Oh my God, he's so good. We have to use him, and we can do this weird thing where we'll have a young actor playing an older-minded Doctor." And then they flipped it with Capaldi, where you had this old guy who thought he was cool and young, which the first couple of series didn't work. I still say Capaldi's last series with Bill is some of the best It's one of the best series of Doctor Who I've ever seen. Like, it was amazing. Like, it's really good.
I'm just
yes.
into the super chats.
Somebody. Yeah. The only Doctor Who I enjoyed was the song. Honestly, Cinny, what are you talking about? Iceforce, I would agree with you. Christopher Eccleston is amazing as Doctor Who, and was amazing as him. I'm glad he's coming back. Did you see he's come back for some of the audiobooks?
No, I did not know.
He's the Doctor again in the audiobooks. So he's a solo Doctor. He doesn't have a companion in the audiobooks. Yeah. So when Christopher Eccleston is not out complaining at people in a park about being really untidy, which I don't know if you've seen that video that went viral a little while ago, he's going through one of the parks. I can't remember whether it's in London or in Leeds, but he's basically like he's walking through and he's happy and he's like compliment. I can't repeat it because there's a lot of swearing in it, so I can't repeat it on the stream. But he's all like happy and he's all like, yeah, it's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful park. And then he just turns the camera around and just like, and then look at all this that's in the park that's been left by people who don't know how to pick up after themselves. It makes me sick. And he just goes on this rant about littering.
I love Eccleston. He's such a.
I'll try it.
I'll
try and find it.
He's something special.
He is something special. He is something special.
What else was I going to say on the subject? I really hope when they did announce that Stephen Moffat was going to leave, one of my favorite writers for single episodes was Toby Whitehouse, who did he did certain episodes, but he's more famous for the TV series. I'm trying to think what it's called now. The one where there is a ghost, a werewolf, and a vampire living in Bristol.
Oh God, what's it called? I need to look it up now. That's driving me nuts.
Which is a fantastic series. I think they did a US version as well. Are
you thinking of? Because didn't he do Becoming Human or Being Human?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, Being Human.
It's Being Human, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes.
So I would absolutely love it if he was the next showrunner. Or even Neil Gaiman. He's done amazing episodes.
They'll never get Gaiman to do it. Never. He won't commit. He won't commit to that. Yeah, it's big money, and he won't commit to that much anyway. He'll want to change like the Doctor into the Sandman or something. He will. It's not gonna happen.
That would be amazing though. Like, I mean, we joke, but if he was just to copy and paste, I'm sure.
Doctor Who is a mainstream BBC show that has a formula, a very well set out formula that the BBC loves, and they get millions of viewers watching Doctor Who every week that it's on. They're not going to want to drastically change anything. The most drastic change they've done in the last 50 years was having it be a woman, and then obviously the reboot. So they're going to keep it the formula that it is because it works. So turning the whole series into a Neil Gaiman Sandman novel is not going to happen. I'm sorry, it's just not. But yeah, I think we'll get an announcement of who the showrunner is first, and then we'll get the new Doctor, because it's typically the new showrunner comes in and then picks the actor he wants to be the Doctor. So yeah, it's interesting times ahead. Hopefully, I hope the new showrunner is really good, and it is like a reboot. Imagine if Charlie Brooker came in and did it.
Oh my god,
it'd be so good.
That would be
so good.
For those who don't know, Charlie Brooker, of course, wrote Black Mirror. He did that weird zombie miniseries, didn't he? That was like if they got trapped in the Big Brother house
I can't remember what it's called. It was Dead Alive or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah. He's famously in this country he was effectively like a stand-up and political commentator, wasn't he? I used to love his reviews of the year that he used to do. They were they were so funny. I'm so sad he doesn't do them anymore. But yeah, Charlie Brooker's amazing. Yeah, imagine if he did it. That'd be great.
It'd be golden.
They could. You never know. Who knows? They might attract some big. We might get Joe Cornish or somebody like that. who I know he's writing a lot in the States now, but yeah, it's interesting. We'll see. I guess we'll find out.
Mm-hmm. Shall we move on to the main subject?
Yeah, great. Let's do it. I can't wait.
So I guess it's probably worthwhile putting in a sort of trigger warning or notice here. One, we're going to go into spoilers if you haven't already seen He-Man, Masters of the Universe. Secondly,
it's not called He-Man. It's not called He-Man. It's just called Masters of the Universe. Retribution, I think it is, isn't it?
Revelations.
Revelations, yeah.
Secondly,
that goes to show you how much I paid attention to the show.
I don't know about you, but I'm not exactly a massive Motu, as it's also known as, Motu fan. So it's probably fair. Like, my only exposure to He-Man or the franchise before this was the 2002 cartoon series, which was a reboot of its own as well.
2002? Jeez, you're not even aware of the early 90s cartoon then?
I know of it, but I didn't watch it.
Late 80s, early 90s? Oh my God. Well, we're going to be great subject matter experts for this one then, because, I have never been a fan of He-Man. I've never watched much He-Man stuff. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. The only reason that, I was contractually obliged to watch this show because of the podcast. Otherwise, little spoiler for my opinion on it, I wouldn't have watched it. So you want to begin, Zane? You want to start with the show?
Sure, yeah. So where do I begin? I guess. So this is a 5-episode series. The idea is that they're splitting the series into 2. So we get the first 5 now, and then we'll be getting a part 2 with the other 5 episodes, so 10 in total. Each episode was 25 minutes long, which means it was about 2.5 hours. Did you say?
No, yeah. The whole half series was about 2.5 hours. Yeah, I mean, it felt like 10, but yeah, it was about 2.5 hours. Yeah.
And of course, behind the scenes, it was done by a animation studio known as Powerhouse, who are favorites of Netflix because they've done shows such as Castlevania, Blood of Zeus, just to name a few. So a great animation studio. Directed and showrunner, it's probably fair to say, is Kevin Smith. I know he's an exclusive producer as well, was Kevin Smith, with an all-star cast. So
executive.
Some of these cast members you'll know from Game of Thrones, like Liam Cunningham.
Cunningham.
Mark. We've got Leah. Is it Headey?
Lena Headey? Lena Headey. Or Headey. I can never pronounce the name properly.
Of course, we've got Mark Hamill, famous from Star Wars and, of course, Batman.
I really thought you were going to say Game of Thrones then.
Yeah, of course.
Mark Hamill, famous as the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Even rock stars like Henry Rollins, who has done some amazing voice acting in recent years, like in Avatar.
Sorry, you're disregarding the main character in it, who is played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy herself. Growing up, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar is in it as well. That is a big name. I know I was joking around, but it is a big name, and
it's definitely.
It's suffice to say, it's an all-star cast in this. Like they got some great names to come in and do it. I wanted to ask you a question about the casting though, because I find animation films, TV, that kind of thing. I find myself quite torn because whilst I appreciate the fact that you do attract big names towards it, for me, I'm kind of like. So, thanks, Cine. Thank you for stopping by. For me, there's kind of like a situation where it's like you have shows like The Simpsons, right? And you have shows like Futurama, and you have other animated shows. Now, the voice talent for those shows is phenomenally good, like amazingly good. Dan Castellaneta, is obviously the voice of Homer. Hank Azaria, and then John DiMaggio, Billy West, like they are incredible voice actors, and they are really, really like masters of their craft of voice acting.
Yeah.
And it's like when you have films like Shrek, for example, where you've got Mike Myers and you've got Cameron Diaz, and they're all big famous movie names, but it feels like they take the jobs away from voice actors who are superior, frankly. I'm not talking about Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's the exception to the rule because he is obviously, to my mind, he is the definitive voice of the Joker, even more so than Heath Ledger. Like if you hear Mark Hamill's voice, it's like, that's Joker.
Yeah.
In certain scenarios. Obviously not when he's Luke Skywalker. Anyway, moving on. But like, I don't know how I feel about the fact that like big Hollywood actors come in, get paid a fortune, and they take these jobs away from animated voice actors who it is their bread and butter to do these voices and to do these things. Like, we were watching this show, and in one of the episodes, halfway through, Kevin Conroy is in it, and he's a fish guy.
Merman.
Merman. He's Merman. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sucks to hear the voice of Batman relegated to a bit part in this show. How good would his voice have been as Master at Arms?
Yes, it would be. Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
It's like I don't for animated films, it ain't about the talent you get in. You know what I mean? I don't give a monkeys about what kind of huge name it is, because I don't know. I think sometimes that they are. I'm not necessarily saying this is the example for everything, but sometimes I feel like they're overpaid.
Yeah,
and they take away from the animated show because you already immediately recognize them as somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That being said, I could just say Kevin Conroy is Batman, so that eliminates my argument immediately.
No, I understand where you're coming from. So I'm going to give you an example here. So, for example, in this show, as you mentioned, we've got Sarah Michelle Gellar as Teela, but I can't help but think how Susan Eisenberg, who plays as the Sorceress, who also played as Wonder Woman in the Justice League TV shows and things of that nature, a great actress and a great voice actress, I should say.
The thing is, right, is that it shouldn't. Every single time I heard, what's her name, Eva Lee. Every time I heard her talk, I was like, "Oh, it's Cersei."
Yeah,
that's really annoying. Every time I heard Teela talk, it was like, "Oh, it's Buffy." It's not a good thing. Whereas if you get somebody like Billy West. Not to be either of those, or he probably could be either of them if he wanted to be. But like, if you get a voice actress like Tara Strong is a good example.
Yeah,
like she was Miss Minutes, and she's also the voice of Harley, and they're totally different. And I never once watched Loki and was like, oh, there's Miss Minutes. Pff, sounds like Harley Quinn. I never thought that, and that's the big issue I have right now with like I don't believe famous actors. I'm going on a lot of rants tonight about like Hollywood and the cinema system and that side of things. Famous actors who have their face on screen, your acting talent is through your facial expressions, through everything else, but your voices have become so recognized. You shouldn't be doing animated work and taking it away from other like really good animated voice actors who will, to be honest with you, probably do a better job.
But you said, there are exceptions. Like you think of J.K. Simmons, like amazing voice acting on Invincible, and again Avatar. He's done some voice acting there. Henry Rollins, of course, he's more famous for his music work to opposed to on-screen acting. But again, his voiceover work has come a long way. So
there's always no, I completely agree. There's always exceptions to the rule. It's just I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever get famous actors in to do parts in animated shows. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you stack a series up like this was stacked up, it starts to become a bit of a problem. In my personal opinion, if everyone else thinks it's cool, that's great. Like that's good. And if you enjoyed this series and you enjoyed the voice acting in it, cool. That's all good. For me, it was very distracting, which may be what took some of the enjoyment out of this show. because I really did genuinely come into this with an open mind, because I knew nothing about. I really didn't know a lot about He-Man. I mean, I had a couple of like action figures of him when I was younger, but you know, it's because it's popular. But I'd seen Masters of the Universe, the film, the Dolph Lundgren film, years and years ago. So yeah, I was very open to this, and like, I don't know, like it does a good job in the opening, kind of explaining it to you about what the universe is and establishing it in the first episode. I don't know. I thought you were a big He-Man fan. I thought you knew loads about it.
No, the only reason I know about it is there was a documentary on Netflix about the toys that made us, and of course they covered He-Man in depth, which is quite cool. But as I mentioned before, I only know He-Man from the 2002 cartoon series, and again, my memory of that is very hit and miss because, well,
it was a while ago.
It is a while ago. I wasn't in love with it. I watched it and I thought it was cool and stuff, but again, I wasn't kind of like, this is the best thing. But I was more of a Thundercats kid growing up anyway, so I could always talk about, you know, Lion-O, Thundera, Panthro, the whole works. Anyways, not to compare.
Never.
With this though, look, with this is the first part, and as a first part, if this is self-contained, it was okay. I felt it was okay. I wouldn't say it was incredible.
Did you want to go through some of the shit? Like, did you want to go through it? We can talk a little bit about what happens in it.
Yeah, well, I'll say I won't say too much because I imagine people have already watched it and that's why they're here. But the one thing I'll say is that I felt like some motivations were kind of skew or just kind of felt weird. So Leonardo.
Evil Leah.
Tila's motivations were so bizarre in the sense that, you know, finding out her best friend had died, but then just kind of lash out on everyone saying like, you lied and then you lied to me.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll cover this kind of because I know that we wanted to address. There's been some controversy about this show that Zane will talk about, I'm sure, after the fact. But this is not a show that focuses on He-Man. This is a show that. So in the first episode, basically, He-Man and Skeletor are taken out of the equation completely, and all magic in the particular universe of Eternia. Is gone. There is no more magic, basically. And I will say this was the one thing that they did do really well, is that what happens when magic disappears from a place, like when a vital resource is taken from the world, what happens? And it did. I will say the positives of the show, it did do a really good job, like investigating what might happen. Like there's this, the thing I particularly like was there's this new machine religion that is grown with old what's his face 3i. I can't remember what his name is in the show.
Triclops.
But yeah, Triclops. That's it. Thank you. He's like the priest of this machine god now, and technology is replacing machines, and you know he's trying to enforce technology the rough way by turning people into cyborgs and stuff. That was really good. Like that part was really good. I was like, oh, that's genuinely really interesting. And the problem I have with it is completely dropped after that, and it's never brought up again. And it's just kind of like, oh, dude, that's a really interesting idea. And he comes back at the end very briefly, and then gets his butt whipped, and then that's it. And it's just kind of like,
it out.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, that's a shame. It shows kind of like cool effects on like mages and stuff like that of what would happen. But the thing that kind of annoyed me is it's that classic, it might be a bit of a trope of the genre actually, but it's that classic thing of like, oh, you know, I can never pronounce his name. Oracle?
Yeah.
Supposed to be Oracle, isn't it? But then he misspelled it. Yeah, Oracle. He's dying because he doesn't have enough magic power anymore because there's not enough left in the world. But then in saving the group from, you know, a serious threat, he seemingly taps into an entire channel of magical power that we never knew before, and then kills himself with it. And I'm like, What? What?
Yeah. I felt a similar way when him and Evil Lynn were having their heart-to-heart, and knowing like there's only so much power in her staff, she decides to use it to cheer him up with like a weird sort of water bird sort of.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, would you do that though?
I think the thing that I was going to say to you, and I don't know whether you'll agree with this or not, but this to me felt like you had a very established kids cartoon show in the 90s, that was obviously insanely popular and spawned a load of stuff after it. And your answer to that in the modern day is to try and like act like it's grown up now.
Yeah,
like this felt like this felt like the kind of series that annoys me with kids shows, where it's like you either start off as an edgy kids show for grown-ups, where like I would argue that Batman the Animated Series or Batman Beyond they are kids TV shows, but they are catering for adults as well. And He-Man, I don't personally think He-Man was ever a catering for grown-up TV show. It's this magic power thing, and they did the movie, which was like a grown-up movie and stuff like that. But this to me felt like, oh, all those guys who we loved when we were kids, well, they're all grown up now, and now we need to do an edgy version of it where it's like, oh no, what happens when He-Man's not around anymore, and like, oh, the whole world's been plunged into darkness, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, ugh. It just felt wrong. It just felt really wrong. And I'm not a He-Man fan. I'm not a big He-Man fan at all. So if you guys want to disagree with me, absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever. I'm not sitting here pretending to be a subject matter expert, but to me it just felt like it's a kids TV show that somebody's tried to slapdash with some adult content, and it doesn't really feel like it works.
I can understand, like you say, the audience has grown up, and I guess it's trying to please that same audience. But if they wanted, I don't know. It's really bizarre.
Do you know what I mean when I said that, Zane? It's like it does feel like that, doesn't it? It does weirdly feel like they're trying to tackle adult, like the whole thing about like magic being gone and stuff. It almost felt like they were trying to shoehorn in some comment about climate change and stuff like that. It almost felt like they were trying to make a political commentary on something in what is essentially a kids TV show. And it's like I get it. I get, and there are times and places to do that and to educate people, but this just didn't feel like the right time or place. And couple that with the voice acting, it just felt very jarring to me.
I feel like they really try to recreate Castlevania, because Castlevania is kind of an adult sort of cartoon.
Yes,
but at the same time, it's. Well, I don't know where I was going with that, but it feels. I know it's going to get compared to it a lot because obviously it's the same studio, but they only have so much input. They just, they only just animate it. They don't kind of have an idea on the script or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's classic tropes of the genre, like getting together a team, going on a quest to find a magical artifact that will then save the land, and that was all well and good. And the ending of it was interesting, where Skeletor is the one who wins. Spoiler alert. Skeletor seemingly wins at the end of the series and gets the power of whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called.
Power of Grayskull.
Yes, the power of Grayskull. There you go. That's it. Yeah. It finally gets it and wins, and it's just kind of like that's the end of the show, and turns into an apocalypse size, Mega Man situation. I just didn't like this series at all. Like, it was hard to get through. I watched the first episode and I was like, wow, that was poo. And then I watched the next one and I was like, oh, it's not getting any better. And it just got worse. And I found, like I said to you before we started the show, it was a really hard slog to get through this show. It was not enjoyable. Like, I watched Star Trek Discovery, which I know is not an animated show, so bear with me, guys. But to give you some contrast of how much I enjoyed that series, I burned through like the whole like latter half of the series in like a day, and this I struggled really badly to get through this in like 2 days, and it was like a quarter of the content, if that. So
I have to, I mean, just to kind of not to rain on the parade, but to talk about some good points. I really did like the animation. The animation is what got me through it. The fight scenes are really cool. That's pretty much it. The voice acting, we've kind of talked about it a lot, but there are some elements where the voice acting, some elements where the voice acting is good. There's some elements where it's not so great. So I would probably say it's okay. It's not the best thing in the world. It's not going to set your world on fire by any means. But I mean, I am interested to see what the other half of this is, because again, I listen to Kevin Smith's podcast, and of course they do talk about the controversies and the comments and the backlash. And, he has clarified that the other half of this will center more around He-Man. But at the same time,
it's very interesting, because I as a non-fan of He-Man, I had no problem whatsoever that he wasn't in it. I didn't really care. And it's unfortunate that it just wasn't good, and I just didn't enjoy it because it wasn't particularly good. But it seems like that's certainly the first half. It's a questionable release method, because certainly the first half seems to have really annoyed like purist fans of He-Man by not having him feature much in it. And then it's also kind of not a high enough quality to appeal to non-fans of He-Man. So they really have gone all across the board to cock this up in that respect, haven't they? It's surprising.
Yeah, exactly. It's the announcement of the series and leading up to the series as well, there were some key points, and I think this is why it hurt fans so much. The first one being is that they stated that this would be a continuation from the 80s or 90s cartoon. This was a continuation. Secondly, I think a lot of the promotional material does center a lot around Adam, aka He-Man, and not so much Teela. So when people kind of gear up going into this expecting to see He-Man do He-Man things, and then it's like pulled underneath them, I think it's called a bait and switch.
It is a bait and switch, yeah. That's you and I were having a conversation about potentially AEW, a wrestling company, doing that, but we'll save that for another time. I will say this: He-Man is in this. He's in the first, he's in the first episode. He's in the 5th and 6th episode, I think. So it's not like he's not ever in it. He's probably not doing the same level of like He-Man-y stuff that he does in the cartoon in the 80s, but yeah. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with it. It is what it is. But yeah,
there's some real sort of bizarre things around it. Another sort of weird thing that people have mentioned is race swapping. So, for example, King Grayskull. Again, I think he was an original character in the 2002 version, but he's supposed to be Prince Adam's ancestor.
Right.
In this, of course, he's a person of color, played by Dennis Haysbert, who played as the president in 20.
Yeah, he's in 24. It's not he's not just in 24. He is quite a famous actor who's been in lots of other things. He is amazing. He's absolutely amazing. Again, like amazing actors, like Stephen Root is an amazing actor who probably best known for Dodgeball. He's the old man in Dodgeball who goes crazy. Alpha Love, is that guy. Justin Long's in this as well, another Dodgeball alumni, as Roboto. There's loads of really famous actors in this. I just
even the original Skeletor voice actor was in this as Mossman.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know that because what's his name? Diedrich. He's Trapjaw in it, I think. Diedrich Badar.
Yeah.
Bader. I can never pronounce his name. He's in American Dad. He's one of the characters. He's one of the voice actors of. I think he's Klaus maybe in American Dad.
Right. Yeah.
Klaus the fish. So yeah, like they do have some smatterings of some good voice acting talent in it. My question is, why weren't they given the main parts and you get cameos in for the other parts, you know, and then you could have saved yourselves a lot of money and got some better voice acting talent on it. You know, that's just me, but there you go.
I know you don't want to talk about Batgirl anymore, but did you see that Alicia Silverstone was the queen in this, by the way?
I did not see that. I did not see that. Right. Okay. Well.
Anyways, yeah, it's.
Oh, I was wrong. Sorry, I was wrong. It's not Diedrich Bader. He is an American Dad as a concussion guy. I can't remember, but he's BoJack Horseman. He's in BoJack Horseman. That's what he's from. That's what I knew him from. He's he's Judah Manodog. That's who he is in BoJack Horseman. Yeah, so that's where I recognize him from. Anyway, again, he's a really good actor and he's a really good voice actor as well. So he's fine. I'm giving him a pass. I just didn't want fanboys to come at me.
So I think it's fair to say that this is disputed.
100% disputed. Let me put it this way. I was going to ask you live on stream, are you going to make me watch the second half of this?
Probably not, no.
Thank God for that, because I might have left the show. I did say to you, that was our thing last week, where you asked me if I was going to watch it, and I looked at you and I just went, do I have to watch it for this show?
And then I showed you it was trending because of the controversy.
Don't get into the analytics. We don't want to reveal the magic behind the show. I will say this, guys. I wanted to talk about something else this week, but I'm not exaggerating. There was nothing else of note that came out this week. So it came to yesterday morning, and Mr. Zane sent me a message going, "So what are we going to talk about on the show tomorrow?" And I was like, "I'm going to have to watch that show, aren't I?"
Yeah.
So yeah, it's this was a labor of love for the podcast watching this one, and
we took a bullet from you guys.
Yeah, I really thought you were into it. I thought you were like super hyped for it. You were like, yeah, I love you, man. Goddamn, I'm going to go straight for it. Woo! Because you turned into Jim Ross, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so. My God. I was looking forward to this. Yeah, I was looking forward to this, but maybe I'll watch the second part to see if it can redeem itself. But I'm not hopeful. As Kal-El would say.
Oh, I think he's going again.
Am I going again?
I think he's going again, guys. I'm going to fill in some time for this in case it's Zane who's having the internet issues on our side. Suffice to say, ladies and gentlemen, I will not be watching this again. I will not be continuing on with any of this. I was about to do a funny tie-in joke to make Zane laugh by saying that, in my head, I imagined Jim Ross right at the end when he gets stabbed and goes, "Good God Almighty, I killed him." But he's back. He's back. Hello, Zane.
I'm here.
I think we can establish it's definitely your internet tonight that's been doing the couch, unfortunately. But yes, yeah. Well, if you want to go back and watch it, my friend, and give us an update, you go for it. If I get really bored and I, have nothing else going on in my life, I might watch it, the second half. But
yeah. You know what? This is a bit of a tangent, but I had that moment last night, and I actually watched the new Transformers War of Cybertron Kingdom, which is like a CG animated thing, but it was a crossover with Beast Wars.
That thing you've been talking about. Yeah. Are you going to cover that on Otaku by any chance? Or?
Probably not, no.
Why? It's like animated. I'm surprised that you didn't cover this on the Otaku podcast.
It's not
surprised
an anime,
and disappointed. Get your other co-host to watch that rubbish, right? Come on, jeez, right? It's ridiculous.
Fair enough.
Just
before I forget, though, sorry. There is going to be. Kevin Smith did announce that there will be a. Well, he didn't announce. He said that Mattel have something else lined up for He-Man, and I saw online. I think it was on Reddit or somewhere that they found these new He-Man figures, which support the idea that there'll be an actual kids He-Man TV show like a CGI version, kind of like the Green Lantern TV show we had a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah, that wasn't a bad TV show. I mean, it wasn't anything special to write home about, but it wasn't bad. Interesting, very interesting. I'm not going to watch it because I have no interest in He-Man after this. Like, I had so little interest in it to begin with. Now I have even less after watching this show. So yeah, thanks very much, Zane, for effectively killing any love I might have had for He-Man. Bravo.
Real human beings.
With having human doings.
It's a Drive reference from Ryan Gosling. Anyways.
I haven't seen Drive for ages. All I remember about Drive is there being a horrible bit with a shotgun, right? There's like that horrible like bathroom shotgun scene.
Yeah.
That's in Drive, yeah? That is what I think, where it just comes out of nowhere and it's like, oh my God.
What I'll have to do is there's a supercut on YouTube where someone's just cut in all the awkward silences that Ryan Gosling gives when people talk to him.
We should cut that in just for no other reason than just as a stark contrast between I won't swear, I promise, but the supercut on YouTube of Nicolas Cage losing his and just superimpose that next to him with Ryan Gosling with the silence, and then Nicolas Cage going absolutely crazy. I'm a vampire. God, I love him.
Or Keanu Reeves when he's tied to the chair by those girls. Have you seen that?
I have seen that. Yeah. Well, what would you do if you're tied to a chair by Anna de Armas? I mean,
anyways.
Not the bees! No! Sorry.
I guess we should wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I've got to go and stream. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late to my stream. Damn you, Zane.
Well, thank you for joining us on this not very up episode, but the next one will be. We'll definitely.
To be fair, it's not been our fault this week. I think we were quite up when we were talking about the news. Apologies that we've had some technical difficulties this evening, guys. I think there's been some internet cutting out on that one, so apologies for that. And yeah, frankly, the subject matter of this particular episode did not seemingly set fire to either me or Zane's world, so that may be a contributing factor to the energy not being super up. But hey, up, right? That's the future.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. Maybe we'll do another list of things if there's nothing hot off the press next week, because I had a lot of fun talking about the worst performances with you last week. So yeah, it's not. I don't think it's anything to do with us, Zane. It's just the. Unfortunately, we both didn't enjoy this one, and it's a bit of a slog getting through it. So it is what it is, I'm afraid. But what did you think about it, guys? Let us know on the gram. Let us know on nerds.undisputed@gmail.com. We're still looking for a name for Zane. We still need something in front of his name, guys. So if you have any suggestions, either drop us a DM on Instagram, drop us a message on Gmail. As I said, nerds.undisputed@gmail.com. Zane,
pop it in the
comments. Exactly. Comments of the video, comments of the podcast. Zane, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter, Instagram. It's still at senpai_Zane. Links.
Awkward,
yeah, it is a bit awkward. Links will be in the description down below. If they want to catch you live on your stream tonight, where can they do so?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Zane. It's almost like I set you up for it. It's twitch.tv/gentlemanlygamer, guys. You can also find me on Instagram @gentlemanlygamer. Please, by all means, get in touch and drop me any kind of messages that you want. Even the horrible messages of fan art for Zane and Batfleck. I want to see them. We need content. So send it on through. Zane, listen. We may not have enjoyed the subject matter, but as usual, my friend, it is an absolute pleasure podcasting with you, and I enjoy it a lot.
Likewise. I have to say special thanks to those who joined us in the super chats on YouTube today. Thank you, Ice Wolf and Cinema Gamers.
Cine Gamers,
sorry.
Cine Gamers, that trouble of a man.
But as always, again, thanks for listening, and no doubt catch you on the next one.
Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.